Hi, I'm Angela Hultberg, Global Sustainability Director at Carney, and I'm here in Davos for the World Economic Forum. And today I am joined by Robert from Philips. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, good to see you. You're with Philips, a company known for leading on some sustainability topics like circularity, for instance. But I'm curious to know, what are some of the key challenges you're seeing in your specific industry when it comes to green transition?
Yeah, so Philips, thanks, Angela. Philips is one of the leading health technology companies in the world. Now, if we think about health tech, the entire healthcare sector has been very much under pressure. Even before COVID, there's high staff turnover, there's very low margins. 4 billion people do not even have access to healthcare. Now, the other 4 billion are emitting more CO2 than all airlines together. At the same time, the entire healthcare sector is extremely suffering from climate change with compounding heat waves in cities and so forth. So the entire sector is very much under stress, which is only compounded with climate change. We have to take that into account when we talk about transition plans and the willingness and the mental capacity for people also, and the financial capacity to make these investments and make these steps.
So you mentioned not every person even have access to healthcare, right? So when we talk about sustainable transformation and transition to green economy, all of this and the investments we need, how do we make sure that it's equal, that it's a just transition?
I think that's the core of the matter. There is no transition if it's not a just transition. As businesses cannot succeed if society is failing, right? So we have seen, I would even argue with the launch of the Green Deal, that we have not always been very mindful of how to communicate and to build a people-centric approach. I think we need to avoid it at all costs going forward. So it needs to be around the patient, around the people, around the communities. And technology is not going to solve it by itself. So it needs to be equitable by design. So if I'm talking for Philips, then it's very much about equitable and sustainable healthcare. And you cannot scale one without the other. Making healthcare, as I said in the beginning, if you want to make healthcare accessible for the other 4 billion people, we need to make sure that we can deliver care in a way that fits within the planetary boundary conditions. And that only happens by design from the beginning.
No, I like that, because sustainability obviously shouldn't be for the privileged few, right?
Exactly.
It needs to be for everyone.
I prefer to speak about sustainable development than just sustainability. Right? It's about the development that needs to happen within the planetary boundary conditions.
So we mentioned the challenges and that the industry is under a lot of pressure. But what are the opportunities then?
So I'm pretty optimistic, because I think we are in a time where we see under pressure a lot of new connections are emerging. Then there's a lot of talk of technology, of course, AI, and we see that wonderful things can be done in optimizing care pathways, helping people much earlier in the journey, avoiding patient deterioration, readmissions. So there's beautiful things that we can do. Technology alone is not going to solve the problem. Technology alone without ethical guidance is probably very likely to accelerate social challenges and tensions. So again, we need proper governance around it, partnerships working together to make sure that the full potential of the technologies that we are just at the beginning of exploring really are for the benefit of the many.
But at the same time, there's no arguing that when it comes to businesses doing sustainability transitioning, a lot of times it comes down to the business case, right? Businesses are in the business of making business. So to make sure that we transition with black numbers, we need to invest in the transition. So is this an investment in creating value, or is it a cost to protect what we have?
I would argue it's both.
Yeah.
I think, as you said, the business needs to make money to be able to invest, but that's also the power of a company like Philips. We have an R&D budget close to 2 billion a year. So the scaling power that we bring to innovation globally on equitable and sustainable healthcare is enormous. But then, of course, you need to be able to capture a part of that value to translate it into cash stream so that we can do that. Now, is it the cost? Yes. Businesses cannot externalize the costs to society. So we have to absorb these costs in the business models and able to create the value for future generations.
And perhaps also move away from the narrative that there is some kind of status quo, because there's also a cost of inaction, correct?
That is significant, right? So going forward, we all know what the cost of climate change already is today. We know what the cost of inequality is. As I said, there's no business if society fails. So that needs to be an integral part of the business case as such.
I love how you've incorporated it. Just for all of viewers out there, and maybe for all business leaders looking at this, what are the lessons you've learned during this journey? You've been in this game for a really long time, right? So what are the lessons you've learned that others could benefit from knowing?
Well, I think start with the end in mind. So really think about what is your long-term objective, because business tends to have this tendency to run from quarter to quarter. And then be very consistent in integrating that deeper purpose, North Star, into your strategy from the beginning, translate it into your innovation roadmaps, then come to performance management, and then align remuneration at the end of it. Don't try to fix it by just taking all your executive remuneration to some ESG or sustainability targets. That's putting the horse behind the wagon. So start with the beginning. Remember what the business of your business is. It's making money is super important, but there must be something deeper. So how do you create value? And then start building the story from there. Very engaging for your employees and for all stakeholders.
So not a sustainability strategy, but a sustainable business strategy.
That's the core of it. Thanks for summarizing.
There you go. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And please do take Robert's lesson here to heart. It's about creating sustainable business strategies. Thank you so much.